In America's deep south, a Blackwater swamp. Beautiful and mysterious. Untamable and dangerous. The deeper you venture into the eerie world they call Okefenokee, the stranger life gets. Early summer, egrets, herons, and wood storks arrive to pair up and breed. The who's who of wading birds. Some live here year-round. Others come from wintering grounds as far away as South America. But survival is a dangerous game. A prehistoric monster waits below. The American alligator is the undisputed swamp boss. And the feathery influx draws in quite a crowd. Egret and heron chicks begin to hatch en masse, and the trees become a chaotic, overcrowded bird city. It's the moment the alligators have been waiting for. With so many birds and so little space, it's only a matter of time before something gives. This time, a narrow miss. With danger on the doorstep, it's a race to get nestlings up to strength so they can fend for themselves. Only the strongest will survive. The alligators target clumsy chicks or birds patrolling the water's edge. The birds may appear to have picked a strange place for their nursery, but there's method to their madness. Nest-raiding, egg-loving raccoons run wild in this swamp. They would wreak havoc in the bird colony if they could get past the terrifying bodyguards lurking below. This strange alliance works well. The young birds are protected from marauding raccoons, and the alligators receive the occasional sacrificial snack. an ancient ritual that forms part of the delicate balance of this watery landscape. Okefenokee is more than twice the size of Singapore. More than 1,700 square kilometers of southern Georgia and northern Florida. It's the largest Blackwater swamp in America. Top of the food chain are alligators. Tough, powerful ambush predators. As deadly on land as in the water. Thousands of them patrol Okefenokee, feeding on almost all their neighbors. But their survival is threatened by an unlikely opponent. Specialist night vision cameras reveal how a small gang of raccoons can clear out an entire family of alligators in just a few hours. Alligators lay eggs, building nests on dry land. And other Okefenokee predators can destroy up to 90% of them. Florida black bears will eat all the eggs they can find. The alligators barred the raccoon's path to the bird eggs. Now, it's time for revenge. The cunning raccoon has an acute sense of hearing and can also smell out earthworms several centimeters underground. Ideal skills for tracking down alligator eggs. With a protective alligator mother nearby, stealth is essential. There can be around 60 eggs in just one nest, so there's enough for everyone. At least at first. Tensions rise when supplies run low. As the protein bounty dwindles, a determined thief makes one last run. For another Okefenokee alligator, no babies will hatch this year. Despite their ferocity and macho image, the alligators here have had a tough time. In the early 1900s, Okefenokee was considered just a mosquito-ridden wasteland, and gators were fair game. An enterprising businessman had a bold idea. He put convicts to work digging drainage canals by hand. The aim was to drain the swamp and farm the dry land. But the company went bankrupt. Okefenokee could not be tamed. Only a few hardy swamper families remained. They grew what they could on sandy islands, hunted and gathered the rest. It was a hard life. When President Roosevelt declared it a wildlife refuge in 1937, the swampers had to leave. Okefenokee reverted to a true wilderness. And as undisturbed space in the southern states becomes harder to find, it has proved a vital sanctuary. Today in Okefenokee, alligators are a swamp success story. There are thousands here. It's largely thanks to these jaws. Adults deliver a bite force with 10 times the crushing power of a Rottweiler. And the older they get, the bigger they grow. The largest in these parts was said to be almost 6 meters long. These days, few reach over 4. That's still more than big enough to scare people living nearby. They're territorial, so when space gets tight in a swamp, people's back lawns start to look mighty comfy. Jackie Carter's the man to call if a toothy grin greets you in the garden. He's one of only 14 licensed alligator trappers in Georgia.
You got a little bit.
Yeah, how you doing, Jackie?
Fine. How you doing?
Good.
Miss Carmen, you doing okay?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's moving now.
Yeah. You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get slapped. You're gonna get knocked down, and you can't let that worry you. You never know what a gator's gonna do, except try to bite you. I believe he'd bite you for a little bit.
I think so. You better watch out.
Quentin, go ahead and get the noose and all out so we can go ahead and catch him.
Alligators are most active at dawn and dusk. They also have reflective cat-like eyes, so creeping about at night is easy.
You know, it's kind of scary because if it had been dark and I hadn't been able to see him in the light or something, I could have just stepped right on top of him.
Even a gator this size, if he just bit down on you, he'd crush a bone or really mess up something. One might be skittish of you, one might be brave, one might be inquisitive, but they all got their own little personality. They all differ, they're like people.
After 22 years at it, Jackie knows not to take chances. He waits for just the right moment.
Yeah, he tired himself out. You can hold a gator mouth shut very easily, but trying to open it up, you couldn't open his mouth if you wanted to. They don't have much opening pressure at all. It's closing pressure what they've got.
An alligator's jaw has one of the most powerful bites on Earth.
Put him like this and he can't move, and because he'll get rested back up in a little bit. I had one take the end of my finger off earlier this year. One of these holder teeth right here, like one of those teeth, and it just caught right there above that bone and clipped the bone like you'd use a pair of clippers on it. Could have been lots worse. Could have been my whole hand. They are very dangerous and they can kill you in a heartbeat.
This little one's heading back to the swamp. But he's dropped off far enough away to ensure he won't come back in a hurry.
You better get out there while you can. Sometimes they'll come back up, sometimes they don't. They're amazing critters, what they can live through and go through and live in muddy, nasty water and never die. They're gonna be here when we're not here.
In geological terms, this place is a youngster, a mere 1,000,000 years old. Dry, sandy pine stands surround vast flooded forests, lakes, and seemingly endless marshes. Giant cypress trees with lacy gowns of Spanish moss punctuate the watery plains. In the heart of the peat-stained black waters, familiar creatures mingle with the bizarre and primitive. Laura Smith from the Joseph Jones Ecological Research Center tracks one of the most curious species of the Deep South.
We bait the traps with a can of plain old sardines, which, have a really strong scent, and that will attract them. They're sort of fierce, but very mysterious. You wouldn't think that an animal that gets 3 feet long regularly could be so well hidden and so abundant.
Laura and her team are looking for these giants, Amphuma salamanders. They are the largest of 37 species of amphibian in Okefenokee. Their snake-like bodies have only tiny, almost useless limbs. But that doesn't stop them from hunting. The crayfish can try to hide, but it won't escape. These swamp monsters use sensitive cells on their heads and slippery sides to pick up minute changes in water pressure. It means they can detect even tiny movements of their prey. They can also detect chemical traces in the water, which is why Laura's crayfish traps might just work.
Let's go see if we caught anything.
Working in a swamp comes with risks.
We do worry occasionally about alligators coming in through. They like sardines too.
And there are venomous reptiles like coral snakes and eastern diamondback rattlers.
It's just a big adrenaline rush to see what you get. Something's swimming in that one. Holy moly. Should have counted, but there were at least 10 fish in there. Oh, wow. We got a great big amphuma.
These meter-long eel-like mud dwellers aren't everyone's cup of tea. There's the slime factor for a start.
You just pick up a trap and it's just this dripping slime. And as slime goes, it's, it's pretty pleasant slime. Alrighty, 2. We have 2 salamanders.
The slime helps keep the amphuma's skin moist.
And they're able to just kind of encapsulate themselves and survive through a drought. And then when the other extreme happens and we have lots and lots of rainfall, the salamanders can actually move short distances over land by sort of swimming across land to another wetland.
They can breathe through their skin. And they can also take oxygen from the water, or just gulp some air. Two rows of tiny shark-like teeth give them a fearsome bite.
Oh, we don't know much at all about Amphiuma. We don't know anything about their method of breeding. We can't tell a male Amphiuma from a female when we have them in our hand. We know very little about their larvae. No one really ever comes across them, so very mysterious. Amphiuma are important for one reason is that they're predators, and we know that predators are a way of keeping an ecosystem in check.
Laura's aim is to unlock some of the secrets surrounding one of Okefenokee's oldest residents.
Well, Amphiuma have been around a really long time. They've found fossils that date back as far as 4 to 10 million years ago, and they're unique to this part of the world.
Amphiuma are not the only unusual predators lurking out here. This primeval ooze also spawns killer plants. Some of the peat here has built up over thousands of years and creates living rafts on the surface that carry grasses, shrubs, and even trees. It's why the Creek Indians call this swamp Okefenokee, or Trembling Earth. But all that decaying plant matter makes the Blackwaters acidic and nutrient poor. So some plants have found ways of supplementing their diet. They consume flesh. The delicate sundew is a master insect hunter. What look like droplets of morning dew on the tips of its leaves are in fact thick, sticky secretions, irresistible treats for passing insects. Once stuck, escape is impossible. The insect soon loses strength, and enzymes in the plant goo start to dissolve the unfortunate guest into a nourishing soup. But in a strange twist, the sundew has a competitor, an animal competing with a plant for protein. Oak toads like to hang out with sundews. They like the same food, and stealing from someone else is than catching your own. This is fast food Okefenokee style. The deeper you go into the lives of Okefenokee's swamp dwellers, the stranger things become. There's a spider that can hunt underwater. Measuring around 10 centimeters across, the Okefenokee fishing spider even dives with her own air supply. The tiny hairs on her legs and abdomen trap air in a film of bubbles that cover her entire body. Underneath her abdomen are her lungs, which she opens to breathe in the trapped air. These crafty spiders also trawl for dinner on the surface, with the occasional home delivery. The hairs that help her breathe underwater now form part of her arsenal. They're super sensitive, allowing her to feel even the tiniest ripple. She eats insects, fish, even crayfish. And one very unlucky cricket. Hooks on her forelimbs hold the struggling prey while she injects her venom, a neurotoxin that blocks electrical signals in the prey's body, paralyzing it. A digestive enzyme liquefies its flesh. It means this spider can devour animals much larger than herself. While you might expect bizarre creatures in Okefenokee, some more familiar faces seem slightly out of place. These are white-tailed deer, common across most of the United States. It's hard to imagine there's another firm ground and grazing for them in all this waterlogged turf. But the islands are covered in lush and plentiful vegetation. So by swimming between feeding grounds, they can thrive in this watery world. But it's not without risk. Even adult deer are fair game for alligators. As temperatures drop towards the end of summer, whitetails seek a favorite food: acorns. And where there are acorns, gray squirrels are never far away. With human hunters on the lookout for both squirrel and deer, Okefenokee's remote islands provide the animals with a useful hideout. Endless cycles of drought followed by deluge means this land is in constant flux. When the Okefenokee is in full flood, its still waters become seemingly endless miles of twisting channels. The animals adapted best to swamp life are those that can survive on and under the water. Autumn triggers a remarkable hatch. These are alligator snapping turtles. Their sex depends on the temperature of the nest. The majority develop into females, but around 26 degrees, you get more males. The hatching bodies are under 4 centimeters long and defenseless. An easy snack. Getting to water as fast as possible is critical. But they are already perfect miniature predators. It's not easy to see in these murky waters, so the baby snapper relies on chemical clues from its prey. That gnarled and knobbled face isn't just about good looks. This is an ambush hunter. And camouflage is key. It also has a secret weapon. That little wiggling thing at the base of the snapper's trap is a lure. Just like a worm, it's irresistible to curious fish. An adult snapper can stay like this for over an hour without surfacing to breathe. But it takes a little practice. Locals know not to dangle a finger in front of them. They could take it right off. They grow big. An adult male can weigh as much as a baby elephant. And as they get bigger, a permanent coat of algae makes them nearly invisible in Okefenokee's murky depths, making them one of the swamp's most efficient killers. Reptiles thrive in Okefenokee, especially snakes. There are 37 species of them, including the infamous venomous eastern diamondback rattler and the cottonmouth. But a lesser-known Okefenokee character is also America's largest snake, the rare eastern indigo. This swamp monster can grow to over 2.5 meters long. It's neither venomous nor a constrictor. It relies on pure brawn to kill. It overpowers its prey by biting, beating, and shaking it to death. And it's immune to the eastern diamondback's venom, so even they make up part of its diet. But today, the indigo is being pursued. CJ, a chocolate Labrador, is on the hunt. He's working with reptile expert Dirk Stevenson from the Oriane Society to check on the number of indigos and on their health.
He is a snake hound extraordinaire, and he's going to lead us to gopher tortoise burrows that have snakes near or in them.
CJ, come.
CJ's finely tuned nose can distinguish indigo snakes from all the other swamp reptiles. Indigo numbers are falling, and as they are near the top of the food chain, any decline could upset the delicate balance of life here.
It's one of the most imperiled of North American snakes, also one of the largest, reaching 8 feet. So we're excited. It's a good day for it.
Dog trainer Barbara Davenport has taught CJ to follow the snake's scent. He easily outperforms any human competition.
Really? Did you find something? What a good boy you are. Good boy.
That's fairly fresh. This is the shed skin of an eastern indigo snake adult. Looks like a female. A good 5.5 feet long.
Drop.
Good work, buddy. Good job.
Got something?
Whoa! Indigo!
Wait.
Indigo! When CJ locates the snake for us, you know, that's really valuable data. It's also a big adrenaline rush. They're really a wonderful animal. They're savage predators that eat rattlesnakes and rats and rabbits and baby alligators, frogs, toads, turtles, possums, you name it. The first time I saw this species in the wild, and I walked up on a massive male, almost 7 feet, just slowly making its way across the sand, tongue flicking and heading slowly toward a gopher tortoise burrow, and I'd never seen anything like it. We're always very interested in studying its status and its distribution and getting a handle on how it's doing. It's a fine indigo, but still small indigo, still rapidly growing. They come much bigger. It's always exciting to see an indigo snake in the wild. Bye, buddy.
A snake as rare and as important as the indigo needs all the friends it can get. In Okefenokee, the snake's best friend might be this unlikely hero. The gopher tortoise. With slow and steady determination, the tortoise builds a system of tunnels all over the sandy islands and pine woodlands, at times over 5 meters long. For the tortoise, the tunnels provide safety and shelter from cold winter nights, and relief from the baking sun of a midsummer day. They also provide a refuge for about 360 kinds of invertebrates, reptiles, birds, amphibians, and mammals. In the past, people had no idea how important the gopher tortoise was. In the Depression era, they became a popular food, and their numbers began to fall. That slaughter is over, but recovery is slow. They don't breed until they're at least 12 years old, and only 10% of their hatchlings survive the first year. So it's critical to keep track of how they're doing in southern Georgia.
Sounds like he's moved about 200 meters or so.
Oh, really? Where was he last time that you located him?
He was down in the corner.
Orion Society biologist Javan Bowder monitors their population by tracking radio-tagged individuals.
All right. Tortoise on the surface. That's a good day. Not every day we get to see one of these guys out on the surface. Usually they're down in their burrows. 281 millimeters, 4.32 kilograms.
The gopher tortoise is a crucial ally for hundreds of local creatures, from eastern indigo snakes right down to field mice and crickets. So while alligators rule the swamp, gopher tortoises are true guardians of the forest. Okefenokee is one of its very last strongholds in the world. And there's one time of year when gopher tortoise burrows are more crucial than ever. It's when the swamp burns. Every summer, violent thunderstorms crash across the landscape. Okefenokee has the third highest incidence of lightning strikes in the United States. The tinder-dry pine forests and peat mats of the swamp can ignite in a split second. Peat is a natural fuel, and fires can rage below ground for months. Even with water all around. Fire spreads with devastating speed. Engulfing vegetation and killing anything that can't run or hide. The gopher tortoise burrows are a lifesaver. Areas of the swamp burn every year. It's a natural part of Okefenokee's ecology. But in periods of drought, the fires can be extreme. In early 2011, a lightning strike started the Honey Prairie Fire. It burned for almost a year and swept through 80% of the swamp. And there's a new concern. The pattern of drought in the area is likely to become more frequent, meaning fiercer fires burning for longer. There may be a time when even this resilient place cannot recover. Through seasons of change and constant life and death struggles. Okefenokee is a secret hideout for some of nature's most bizarre, ingenious, and endangered animals. As this dark oasis reveals more of its secrets, it will continue to surprise and enthrall.
Next in Nordic Wilds, summer comes to this unforgiving landscape where melting seas bring bounty for eagles, but hungry times for Scandinavia's majestic polar bears.